Welcome to the latest episode of Duqm Now. I'm Talal Shahri, and I'm very happy to say that today our topic is tourism, what is happening here in Duqm, and all the potential Duqm has. To speak to us on this matter, we have some of the top experts in Duqm and across the Sultanate of Oman, starting with His Excellency Azzan Al Busaidi, Undersecretary for Tourism at the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. We also have the Managing Director of Visit Oman, Mr. Shabib Maamari, and we're joined by Yousuf Rahbi, the General Manager of Crown Plaza Duqm. Welcome to you all, and thank you for being part of this today. Duqm is, in many ways, a blank page. There is some infrastructure already, there are some natural sites, but we have an opportunity here to build something, more so than in other places. How do you think this can help give an advantage to Duqm? Let's start off with you, Your Excellency.
I believe Duqm had already progressed in the development of tourism. If we look at the infrastructure today, it took into consideration that this would become a destination where people will be visiting either from Oman or even from overseas. We have an airport, we have a road network that links most of the sites in Duqm and beyond. We do have some fantastic hospitality assets as well that have been part of Duqm development since the beginning of time. And this itself puts Duqm in a very advanced stage where today perhaps we would need to focus on the next level of the product, which is the tourism experiences. And this as well is something that Duqm could be doing quite well, having that the natural resources around it, the sea, the geological sites, the reserves nearby, are all assets that can be part of the experiences that Duqm can uniquely build in the next phase.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to move to you, Yousuf. When it comes to Duqm, and you are one of the people who are here from the beginning of a tourist journey until the very end. What is it that you've seen from them as something that they truly love about Duqm, and what do you think might be missing for them?
The most important, you see it unique in Duqm is the calmness, is the peace in Duqm, completely out of crowd, out of busy city, where the guest, when they first arrive, is completely different places where the nature, the open space that give relaxations, regardless if they are corporate and business, but also for the leisure point of view, is the place where you can get relief out of city.
Yeah. Shabib, quiet tourism is a thing that we've been seeing becoming more popular in the world these days, especially, more so every year. How could Duqm take a chunk out of that piece of the pie?
I think from a nature perspective, it has the perfect positioning. It doesn't require anything. And as roughly said by His Excellency, infrastructure is amazing. It's far more advanced and it's, I think, ready for the next 15 years. Beautiful state-of-the-art airport. You have the port, you have the roads, and then beautiful properties. And then a pristine, hundreds of kilometer white sand beach with crystal water. I remember my first time here camping 16 years ago. You literally don't need goggles to look at the fish. You walk into the beach and you see everything there. And people would pay money to experience that. I think it's time we start pushing, this position of Duqm. But then we all know that tourism is an ecosystem. It's not one element. Government is supporting, infrastructure is there, the asset is there. Now it's up also to the local SMEs, local businessmen and entrepreneurs to take their role and push forward the narrative of Duqm and start providing these wonderful experiences. Once that happens, then later on, the attention of the big tour operators they'll see that all of this is there. These tour operators can bring you the numbers that you're looking for. Also, we can't forget the role of the aviation sector here. It's part of also the ecosystem.
Yousuf, as someone who is currently living and working in Duqm, who's part of the infrastructure that already exists, could you give us a picture of what is actually here in Duqm?
Well, the most important is the Duqm is the special economic zone established, and the role of the hotel was part of this journey. Crown Plaza Duqm is an international brand under IHD Group, under Continental Hotels Group, and under Umran Groups as well, as an owner, and build the hotel in very unique time of the journey of the economic zone. Major things is the port of Duqm, dry dock, and the refinery. That's the most important, and extending all of that. So the play role of Crown Plaza to have the true hospitality to the hotel, delivering the high brand standard internationally, and link it to the hospitality of Oman culture. It make a great experience where they have providing a quality of the rooms, safety, and experience on food and beverage. Link also to the unique of the Duqm of fishermen, and the fish and the seafood is the most unique here. So that experience is adding value for Duqm and make it special for the guest point of view.
And if I follow up on this comment, I would say that this shows that tourism and tourism investments, either from Umran Group or any other investments, were at the very beginning of the establishment of the 2,000 square kilometers economic zone here in Duqm. It is a unique positioning. It's one of the largest economic zones in the region, and by far even in many parts of the world. It is set to play a vital role in the future of the economy of Oman. Having investments in tourism at the level of the investments that we're seeing today just shows that tourism was meant to be part of the development of the special economic zone of Duqm, and can continue to play a very interesting role as we move ahead.
I want to hone in on the fact that we keep mentioning the quiet. We keep mentioning, we have a beach, we have fisheries, we have the desert. That does represent many parts of Oman, not just Duqm in some ways. So Oman has over 3,000 kilometers of coastline, and we have some incredible fisheries areas. We have some incredible wadis and mountains, and the list goes on. So how realistic is it for Duqm to really take the mantle of being a tourism destination in this country? Shabib?
I think one of the things that's striking is the beautiful infrastructure here, how ready it is. And then you have, yes, rightly said, the coastline, but then also the temperature here throughout the year. That's a competitive advantage in my opinion. You have the north part of Oman in the winter season, beautiful, and then you have the south during the Kharif season, summer. But then Duqm is the constant one with the temperature throughout the year, and that plays a vital role. Being a fresh destination, a lot of our partners that we talk to in the source market are always looking for the emerging destination. And for us, we can play along the concept of the Indian Ocean, the exotic look and feel of a resort overseeing the ocean. It's new, it's fresh, it's undiscovered, it's untouched. These things are extremely intriguing for tourists to go and find out in this adventure. What is this new destination? What does it have? But then the surprise is the solid infrastructure, this beautiful, airport, the readiness there, and then state-of-the-art, hotels and resorts. That's a big, massive addition to a lot of people that want to discover new destinations.
And for us, perhaps we would have to put into consideration that the tourism positioning of Duqm, it might start being a getaway, a place where people go to unwind. It's calmer, it's less hectic. But this would evolve eventually. Duqm would become more busy, more people would be visiting Duqm, and then it would reposition itself as it moves. And I think there is no harm at all that today it captures a segment of the market that are looking for a quiet, calm place away from the dazzle of the cities. But as we progress, we would have to reposition, and that's just the natural evolvement of the tourism journey of a place like Duqm. Maybe the advantage that we have here is that the basics are far advanced in comparison to other destinations in terms of infrastructure, the availability of hospitality assets, and so on and so forth.
It can be added also, we can see now the trust for the tourist, where come from self-drive. People discovering, as we mentioned, they discover Oman. So they're discovering from the north to south, and it become Duqm also one of the destination, and that give confidence and comfortable for the tourist point of view to discover it by their own and self-driving across the coastline. And that is one of great experience. We always trying to interacting with the guest from where they come, where they go, how they experience, and how we can also support it, this journey to get more understanding, and if there is any idea that we have to be shared and or give advice to the guest. But we see very comfortable the tourists now start by self-driving and cross the line from south to north.
And this is something we're blessed for, because Duqm is not an isolated product when it comes to tourism. It is part of a wider ecosystem, a wider product. We're blessed that we have different areas in Oman that are able to attract tourists throughout the year if we just put everything together. And maybe this is the role that Duqm can play, especially considering that the northern part of Oman is only related with the tourism traffic during a specific time of the year. Whereas during the summer, for example, Duqm can play a bigger role in just making sure that we have a steady flow of tourists to Oman in general.
In full honesty, though, last night we were standing on the balcony looking out on Duqm and thinking to ourselves, where is our opportunity here to invest in a place like Duqm? It feels like it's so open and so ready to welcome people. So just going back to your line of the roads and people reaching and driving here to Duqm, I mean, one of the things we always see, the moment you enter the Sultanate of Oman, the moment you cross the border, no matter where you are, you're going to see a big sign that says to Duqm. So that's happening now. But when do you think this drive to Duqm thing started? Have any of you had any experiences with people who have discovered it?
Yeah, so I have friends from Australia. The husband is an executive in Oman. The wife is an executive in Abu Dhabi. And every year, twice a year, they would drive to Al Wusta. And that's their switch off time every year required. Busy life, hectic being an executive. What they like is the remoteness, and they would look for a spot without any mobile signal, and then they'll camp there for a few days. They'll make it, part of their plan to come to Crown Plaza, and then they drive to Adfar. But they always send me pictures of these endless, quiet, empty, beautiful beaches in Al Wusta region. And to me, that's a big sell. We just need to amplify that message and push forward the narrative to SMEs. They need to take now that step and provide these wonderful experiences in Duqm.
I guess our next question here is going to be, we spoke about infrastructure. There's a lot already available, 2,500 plus hotel rooms, roads, airports, so forth. What are the actual needs that we have, priorities that we need to move to next?
I believe there are two things. We are working on a plan of making it easier and more apparent for people to come and visit Duqm. It is a cooperation between hotels, the airline, Visit Oman as a platform, Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, packaging at Duqm for a short stay, targeting it to a specific audience. This could be one line, whether they could be from Oman, they could be from the region, or even beyond. And the second very important part is the experience. I believe experiences have to be something that we spend so much attention to in the next phase. There are unique experiences that can make Duqm a product that is not very difficult to sell. There are experiences related to the sea. This is part of the heritage of this region with fishing. It could either be something traditional, something that the community is already doing, or it could be something with a little bit of a twist. As a ministry, we've already partnered with international endurance events organizations, and some of these events are taking place in different parts of Oman. Maybe something related to this can be extended to a Duqm as an experience. It could be something related to the geology around Duqm. It could be something related to the nature around Duqm. And in fact, all of this would help us maintain a sustained product here in Duqm. I believe that with more people visiting the area, the awareness of having this as a destination that has so many qualities would help us maintaining the cleanliness of the beaches, the practices in different organizations working here in Duqm, and most importantly, having Duqm as a brand live in the map in the region and in the world as well.
I'll have to agree with His Excellency. All the data that we come across with our partners, OTAs, online travel agencies, point out that now people drive to pick a place to travel to is the experience. So it's not only now the destination. The question is, I don't want to go to this place. I want to go experience the thing I saw on social media, the thing that was covered by this famous, blogger. The advertisement now, if you've seen, especially in tourism, very much the focus is on the experience itself. It's not the destination anymore. And we've seen that in most of the OTAs that we deal with. And I believe for us to put a Duqm on the map, we need to focus on the offering itself, the experience that is available today or going to be available soon.
I think just to add from Shabib, looking to the tourist, we surprised that tourists came first time in Oman, and the first destination and part of the destination is Duqm. That is an amazing experience. And for us as a hotel, we also giving the true hospitality by personalize the experience for the guest. We're looking about the environment, looking about the culture, looking about the adventure. All of this is together as part of the experience that tourism are looking for. So that's something that really experienced from many international tourists visiting the part of Duqm and discover a coastline. And
making it easier to visit Duqm and having experiences, as mentioned, developed to cater to tourists and creating a bigger, larger flow of people visiting this area could even help in neutralizing the image of a Duqm as an industrial destination. The Duqm has elements that would help a brand of being an industrial city to take place. Whereas on the contrary, Duqm could as well play a bigger role in being a sustained destination, being a destination that's close to nature, a destination that enjoys a wide biodiversity. I believe we have a chance to just make this more apparent by taking the steps that the gentleman just came across and utilizing all of the different elements that are readily available.
What are our actual viable next steps? If I was an investor and I wanted to become part of the future of Duqm's tourism, what areas should I actually be looking into? What stories can I tell here, Shabib?
The options are endless, in my opinion, when it comes to Duqm. If you go for large-scale, tour operators from Western Europe, the number one ask is always sun and beach. We have sun and we have beach.
Beautiful beach.
Yes. So that's if you go large scale. If you go to niche, then you get into sport fishing, scuba diving, beautiful biodiverse different creatures in the ocean here, and then sailing, boating. Again, a very, I would say, big idea that Duqm can become part of the cruise map here in the region. We have the port, you have the airlines flying in here. You just need to connect the dots, and then you have the hotels. This can be a stopover for cruise liners to stop here and then continue north or south. But then it doesn't have to be grand. Always we've dealt with micro and small organizations that does experiences really well in the north part and the south part. And one of the stories that we came across that was amazing last year in Kharif season is one guy operation. All he did, he bought this inflatable tent that can be set up in few minutes, and he will get you dates, coffee, if you want, a full meal, breakfast, and he will set it up anywhere in Dhofar in a few minutes. And then he would film you, he will take your pictures, and then he would leave you there for a few hours. We started off by pushing this to few individuals that we know that like that kind of camping. And then the shift happened when the Minister of Heritage and Tourism hosted a famous Kuwaiti singer with his family in Salalah for Kharif. And we offered him this service. He posted on his social media that has been followed by millions. Immediately, he gets this tens of orders. And to his surprise, the majority were locals. So it's not only international tourists. People genuinely like the setup. They like the imagery of the place that you've picked. They wanted to be there. They wanted to experience that moment there. So we have the grand idea, but then it can be as simple as an inflatable tent. Even from a cost, it's not a big investment.
I think adding, Duqm no need to be copy-paste. It should be a unique link to the nature, looking to the adventure that is unique in Duqm. Fishing game is the one most of the important. Also having experience yearly, we have a group of friends from different country coming yearly to Duqm, staying in the hotel, having great experience, and going daily to the fishing. So this is something very unique, water sport activities on the sea because of the stability of the wind that across the summer, great experience to have such activities that link to this. So this is something Your Excellency also mentioned it, So it's a unique experience that has to be special for Duqm.
Maybe two other segments and experiences that are worth mentioning, adding to Shabib and Yousuf's comments. We have astrotourism. It's a segment that's interestingly growing. Oman perhaps can play a significant role in this for many, many reasons. And although Duqm is right now developing plenty of infrastructure, traffic, etc., but just outside Duqm, you would find amazing spots for astro-related activities. And this is a segment that even in the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, working with other partners, we're looking into pushing forward as being a unique experience that can be provided. And as well, let's not forget the geological tourism, the ecotourism. Less than an hour drive from Duqm, you have the Oryx Reserve. And all of these are elements that I believe are readily available. They would just require packaging and channeling through to the target audience.
Yeah. We've mentioned what kind of tourists have already been coming through and the potential of who can come in the future, but what do you guys believe our target should be? What segment or should we start trying to attract to Duqm first? International, local, regional? What should we be looking at?
A quick one that is not very difficult, I think. Anyone who is into camping. And you could start domestic and then go regional. And let's not forget, India is only 2 hours. We were looking at 1 billion. We don't want to attract 1 billion, but to me, the encatchment there is massive. You have already 1 million people coming for Kharif season. You could work on shoulder season there to push Duqm. Yousuf mentioned that they get a lot of people who would stop by driving to the far or coming back and they stop here. Again, that's a segment that we need to look at. But then when you go international, then we're talking about tour operators. Again, Sun Beach is something very obvious in my opinion.
Duqm, as a hotel, we are only one part of it, and having tour operator is very important. Putting marketing campaign for Duqm, explore and discover what is around the Duqm. It's very important, and I believe is international and domestic is playing big role. That stopover, discover Duqm is very important and unique. As I mentioned last time, many of guests internationally being first time in Oman, and they will be also first time in Duqm. And it's about relaxations, and it will be like a break relaxations where they really enjoying. And by adding some of these activities, I think that is the most important to be added.
A segment that should not be taken for granted is the actual investors that Oman and Duqm is targeting. We target this segment for the purpose of attracting them to invest. But they are as well a legitimate target for being here as tourists, as visitors. They can and should be able to discover the other side of the story. The fact that Duqm can not only provide incentives related to investments, not only provide infrastructure related to industries and what have you, but can actually be a destination that has signature experiences related to whatever assets it has right now.
Obviously, we don't want Duqm to be a copy of other tourism destinations, either locally or in the region. But what are some stories that we might be able to take inspiration from when it comes to community and building a destination? And do we have any examples that you could share from here in Oman?
Examples from Oman that we can draw lessons from is the development that took place in Nizwa, and specifically in Al-Aqr. Al-Aqr is a traditional area. It was abandoned for a number of years, and it started off with one local business that decided to take a house, a traditional house, renovate it, and then offer it as a heritage inn for tourists to come and enjoy the place. Today, there are more than 75 heritage inns in Al-Aqr area, and Nizwa has become part of the tourism map, if you would, in Oman. It has gone beyond being attractive to local tourists or even regional tourists. Today, it plays a very apparent role in attracting tourists from overseas. it even radiated to other areas next to it in the Dakhliya region. This year we had a very successful Rose festival in Jabal Akhdar. And for all of the reasons that were mentioned about Duqm, i.e. infrastructure, awareness, the availability of hotel assets and hospitality assets, the accessibility in and out, the marketing efforts of the area, the experience, the Rose experience was the tipping point. It was the element that made Jabal Akhdar really cross that threshold. And I could say proudly today that Jabal Akhdar is today in the map of tourism in Oman, far beyond the geographical borders of the country. If we reflect back to Duqm and how can that be an introduction, not in the sense of copying that experience because it will never work. It started within the local businesses. The engagement of the community in these areas, they would understand what is the experience that can be packaged in an authentic way, in a sustainable manner, that can be presented to the tourists. It might not be fishing. It might be something that we even didn't talk about here today, but they would know best. The cooperation between the community, local businesses, the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, Visit Oman, hospitality assets in Duqm, and specifically Crown Plaza, is what is going to bring all of this, inshallah, to the success. But I think there is just a limit of which we can dictate what should the experience be like. I think the principle is something we're agreeing that you would require an experience to be able to sell Duqm to tourists. But what are the details of these experiences? How is it going to be provided? Is something I think would be a surprise, just like the Rose experience that surprised us. This season, for the last month and a half, Jabal Akhdar was a destination that was visited by thousands of tourists, not only from Oman, but even beyond. And I think this is an interesting lesson that we should be learning from.
I fully agree with His Excellency. It doesn't have to be a complicated experience. And the best route is the grassroots approach. And we've seen this in other destinations. People would pay money to take a picture with a camel. We have a lot of camels in Al-Wusta. We have a lot of camel farms in Al-Wusta. And then you have the camel race, camel beauty pageant. But someone needs to take that initiative and start telling the story of why is this important to the community? What does this camel, resemble? It's not just another animal. And build that entire experience around it. And I guarantee you people will show up to listen to the storyteller, learn, about camels, watch a race, down the line maybe bet on a race. It's very intriguing also when you look at the sales of these famous camels. We're talking north of $250,000. We take it maybe for granted. It's part of our culture, but this is all it's all about the experience for someone who is not part of your culture to come and experience that. And I fully agree with His Excellency. It needs to start local. They know better than anyone, and once that spark starts, it spreads, and then you can grow it and scale it up.
Okay. And any last message to our viewers or listeners right now? Why should they come visit? Why they should invest? And what they might be seeing coming in the next few years to Duqm?
Duqm is going to be surprisingly contributing positively to our tourism sector in Oman. It has the basics that any destination would require. It has the attention already, being a destination for investments as a special economic zone. And most importantly, it has the natural elements that any interesting destination would require to be able to build unique experiences that people can come and enjoy.
The most important is the weather. It's a beautiful weather, and that's the most unique during the summer. It's very, very relaxations when it came to the weather.
Yeah, so very stable weather.
It's,
Okay, what else would you say, Shabib?
I think the timing is perfect because of the growth. Now it's the right time to invest because this is a growing destinations, and it might become a bit more difficult in a few years to come and invest. So first movers is today. Come look at it and explore the endless opportunities in Duqm.
Fantastic. And there we have it. This has been the latest episode of Duqm Now with a focus on tourism. I was joined today by His Excellency Azzan Al Busaidi, Under-Secretary of Tourism at the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, as well as by the Managing Director of Visit Oman, Shabib Maamari, and the General Manager of Crown Plaza Duqm, Yousuf Rahbi. You can find all episodes of Duqm Now available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. I'm Talal Shahri. I'll catch you next time.